Welcome back here with Goldberg. Today we're going to be discussing Ramsey Paul. No, I'm just kidding. Dave Ramsey is our subject, and he's a guy that I think for the most part is a net positive. His campaign against debt, if you have it, break it down and get rid of it. Try to avoid wherever possible. Those are all ideal things, and I'm very much an advocate of staving off any debt whatsoever. Now, you will have the folks who will attempt to clap back, because we have lots of STDs in this country, and they'll go, "Oh no, you're wrong, because you can actually leverage debt to make money in business and investments." Yeah, but invariably the people who make that statement don't have the intelligence, the personality, or the IQ to follow through with it. So they'll buy the $70,000 diesel pickup truck claiming they're going to start a business, and it never happens. So they just got a large car payment. And let's be real, a truck, unless you have a farm or you work in construction or landscaping, there's not much purpose. I suppose, though, you get average gas mileage, and if you get hit in a traffic accident, you'd be pretty safe, but otherwise, not much point. This particular clip has less to do with our video. I just wanted to bring it up to demonstrate the hypocrisy of society when it comes to sensitive issues like domestic violence. This is a case where the guy lost $300,000 day trading, which is a bad idea. Day trading for most people, bad news. I've even talked about in my book, Total Invincibility, if you've read it, the importance of trading on paper before you even bother with real stocks, because you have to figure out if you know how to make good picks, and if not, and even if you can make some decent ones, oftentimes sticking with index funds, passive investments, or less volatile options is a good idea. But this guy, he lost $300K day trading. He was diagnosed as bipolar. And look at how this biblical, God-fearing man, Dave Ramsey, how he responds to it at the end.
I'm so sorry. What a horrible thing y'all been through.
Well, we're getting through it. There was some debt that went into it along
How's
with it.
your marriage doing?
Our marriage is good. It's strong. You know, we go to counseling. I'm very supportive of him.
Is he healing from the bruises where you hit him?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he had said something like, "Is she healing from the black eye where you hit her?" I bet that would get a lot of chuckles. But yeah, again, domestic violence towards men is not a big deal.
Yeah, I think I'll be okay.
Okay. So I just wanted to bring that up for your reference. Now, Ramsey vacillates a lot. This is a video from some years back where he gives some pretty bad advice. I know he's trying to promote the biblical family structure, and I'm not hating on him for that. But in this case, he just doesn't seem to get it.
Do I pay it off before get married? No. Okay. The day you get back from the honeymoon, though.
Okay, dude. So why would you endorse a guy? His girlfriend's got, I think, $100,000 in debt. Why would you endorse him getting married? And then, well, you can kind of work. No. She should pay that off before you get married. This particular clip, and he gets better as time goes on, like down more recent years, but this clip is just bizarre. I'll skip ahead a little bit here because we've got limited time.
Okay, Larry Burkett used to say two people just alike get married, one of you is unnecessary. Usually you marry the opposite, and that's okay. She's going to help you to lighten up and have a life, and you're going to help her to be more responsible and organized.
I can't stand arguments like that. You should risk everything you have for someone who's going to spicing up your life, have a nice personality. No, make them get their financial house in order, and you can do that together. I've seen so many cases where the chick, "Oh, stop complaining that I spend money." Or it can be in reverse. This is not a girls versus guys channel, okay? We recognize the fact that human beings are human beings, and I've seen plenty of cases of dudes leeching off of girlfriends who are a lot more successful. If you say, "I have to stay with him because he needs a mother," let him go back to mommy. That's not your concern, to be very clear. Head just a little bit here.
Prior to getting married, to make sure that you're on the page. I don't mind her having the debt. I do mind how she feels about it.
I do mind her having the debt. I mind very much indeed. You know, if she had the debt and she was coming out of Harvard Law School and she's going to make $300,000 and she's determined to actually work, because that's a stressful job, or being a doctor, it might be a little bit more reasonable. But having $100,000 and no real purpose, and then saying you're going to get married, no, you need to have a better sense of that because it's just too much of a risk. Let's go here real quick.
He says be on a budget. He says be out of debt, and how he talks about investing, and and then if you can get aligned on that after you're married, you combine everything, which means you need to write the checks and be debt free. But don't pay off somebody's debt you're not married to. Ooh, bad medicine, bad idea. Yeah.
So he makes this point. It was just a little bit before, but he says, make sure you're on the same page. I can't stand that because that could be like, we need to be on the same page about you paying my debt. No. You get a handle on your thing, they get a handle on their thing. You come together when you're in financially ideal straits. Not like, well, I might need your help for... No. That's not the basis of a marriage. Because as he says in another video, most marriages that are unsuccessful relationships is because of financial issues. So I thought this clip was very unhelpful because he should be saying, don't pay off the debt, period. He's saying, don't pay off their debt if you're not married. Well, yeah, but then you get married and it's okay. So you sign the contract and, it goes out the window. I had a big issue with the way he presented that. Now we've got this one, a little bit more recent, but also troubling.
She's got about $100,000 in student loan debt from private university in a field that doesn't really pay well.
Go figure.
So she spent $100,000 to get a degree in art from a private university.
Yeah.
Okay. And what else?
And she's got some other debts, and right now she's unemployed. I think she's been paralyzed by the debt, and I've just been listening to...
Paralyzed by the debt. You can tell this guy, he's probably well-meaning. He's definitely what would be described as a simp. Although, to be perfectly clear on that, many of the folks on the internet who call other men simps, it'll be like some bald, overweight guy with a subpar-looking girlfriend who says that men are simps, and then you look at, their social media and you see that they're bragging about taking this chick on shopping sprees. But that's not simping, that's just being nice to a chick. Okay.
Stories from different callers, and I just hear the echo from that.
It's like poetry, it rhymes. All right, who we got over here? Just up here to 127.
Everest.
Right. Yeah.
You don't think she's lazy?
I mean,
yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Since I've been dating her, I've been dating for like 4 years, and I'm 28 now. We're kind of getting to that point.
Again, people say blue pill simp. A lot of guys, they don't have another option, though. You got to realize the state of the dating market. If he's not tall, good looking, he's got a lot less options. So dudes have this kind of defensive attitude, justify bad decisions of their girlfriend because they may not be able to find another one. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the reality of how romance works in our current age.
Point where things are either going to get more serious or, less serious. So,
classic. I've seen dudes do this before many times. It's, well, we're getting older, might as well get married because I'm not going to find someone else. Do not throw your life away. Don't get into financial entanglement on those bases. Male, female, whatever. Do not tether yourself to a person just because you feel like you can't find someone else. You'd be better off single, or maybe, going back trying to find someone than stick with a person who's just going to be a dead weight financially. I hear this guy and I just have to say, it reminds me of that song. It's like, I didn't even know you wanted to cuck me. Here's my wallet. Why don't you say so? We're getting into this. It's peak financial cucking in this country. And it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. And he says, my girlfriend's not working. Go out and do Uber. Do some gig on Craigslist. Make an OnlyFans. You'll make a lot of money doing that probably. But in all seriousness, you cannot have this mentality go into a relationship. And too many men, but women as well, they justify slobby, unmotivated partners. And it's dangerous for them. So now let's finally go. His daughter, remarkably, seems to get it a lot more than he does.
Sure, when it ever comes to couples we kind of have a pretty hard line in the sand that when you're not married, it's two separate entities. So you guys are running in two separate lanes. It's your debt, it's her debt. There's no we in the mix with the money situation. So keeping it kind of black and white. But we found that's the wisest route to go. And then once you do get married, everything's combined, whether it's income, debt, all the above. So I would say being careful that those boundaries are in place, because we've heard horror stories, not this is going to happen to you guys, but of people breaking up and you've spent, 20 grand of your own money to pay off her debt or something like that. So
Exactly. You don't invest in stuff. If you're going to pay for something, you should be paying into like a house, because if you do get divorced, you might get half of it. Depends on the state. But even I disagree with the idea it comes together and then it's combined debt. That's also very dangerous. What is the debt from? Do they have a plan to pay it off, or are you their meal ticket? And then once it's paid off, they're going to just say sayonara, go off into the sunset. I mean, these are serious issues. But finally, Dave Ramsey is a little bit more red-pilled. Or I call it gold-pilled.
Where I want eventually our life to look like together, and getting on the same page there.
Yeah, just to be really, really clear, don't you pay her debt. This is you just walk in with somebody you care.
Okay, so finally he kind of redeems himself. Don't pay her debt. So Dave Ramsey overall, I think the message is sound. Of course, his sort of Christian principles and the importance of advocating for marriage, they sort of run up against each other. But at least he has the sense to say, don't pay someone's debt before you're actually married. But even there, don't get married if they have a lot of debt. So that would be the Goldberg, that would be the gold pill. If you're going to get married, which is highly inadvisable, and certainly you don't want to get legally married, just do it in the church, the synagogue, the mosque, the Walmart. Make sure that you don't have debt going in, because that is just the recipe for disaster.